Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to KHM Today, your bi-weekly resource for industry news and straight up fun. I'm your host, Carolyn Orff, and today is, what is today? September 3rd, 2025. Welcome to my new office, everyone. It's a little echoey, and you'll see the lighting's just a little off. I've got all the lights off because it was showing I'm not sunburned, I promise, but it was making me more red than I am appearing right now. So I'm going to get that all worked out over time. You guys know how I am. But I'm just excited to share my new space with all of you. I'm no longer in the basement, which is kind of exciting, but it's super hot up here, which is funny. Anyways, I'm so excited to be here with all of you today to have a fantastic discussion about luxury. Hi, Gina. Hi, Sadie. I hope you guys are doing great. You guys, just a little bit of news coming your way. So, of course, we have Luxury Symposium happening at the end of the month. So if you are someone who is not quite sure whether or not they should come or tune in virtually, take a listen to this episode and hopefully it'll help you define. But it is still open. You're welcome to join us. We're really excited to be back at Hotel Cleveland for this event. Hello, Gorgeous Guy 11 and Annie and Dream Explorations. Hello, it's so great to see you guys. We also have boot camp starting next week for all of our newer agents 1.0. So we're excited to spend the week with you. And then don't forget, we have our November weekend boot camp. So for all of you that have told me throughout the years that you cannot take that much time off during the week, we are going to give you an accelerated option starting on Friday, November 7th, 6th, 7th. I can't remember what that date is, through Sunday. So we hope that you guys join us either in person or virtually for that event as well. Good afternoon, Chris. Great to see you from Florida. Okay, guess what else? You guys, after 36 years, Mike Julius from Carnival Cruise Line is retiring. He is one of the first people I met when I came over to KHM. He is one of the most loveliest gentlemen you will ever meet. He is so great at his job, and he's going to be truly missed. He just loves the travel industry, but he also loves travel agents, and he just exudes that. So we're going to miss you. He's a huge supporter of this show and has been for the 3 years. And we wish him all the best in his retirement. It is well deserved. Anyways, down to business. It is our third luxury symposium happening at the end of the month. This event has evolved over the last couple of years, and in my opinion, just keeps getting better and better. And it's one of my favorite events because it's not only suppliers coming in that you might not typically see at our events, but it is about the conversation. And we're going to start that conversation here today with two wonderful luxury selling travel agents. Please welcome to the show for the very first time, Laura Reece, and back for I don't know how many times she's been on, but one of my favorite people at KHM, Chantelle Nye. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here, Laura. I know you're taking time out of your precious family time to join us. So I really appreciate it. You are one of the agents that just really exudes and we see it on Facebook. You are selling luxury travel. So I want to start today's discussion with, what is your idea of luxury travel? How do you define it? And does your definition always align with your clients?
That's a very good question. And as I was thinking about what to talk about today, I think it's really important that you understand your client's perspective of luxury travel, because it's not always going to be the same as yours. And that definition of luxury travel changes depending upon your client. And you're also going to have some clients that you're going to move up. Say, you're booking NCL and you're going to move them up to the Haven. Or you could have a client that comes to you and says, I really like Ritz-Carlton cruises. What else is there? And you say, okay, well, you've got Orient Express and Aman coming online, Four Seasons and things like that. So you have to qualify very clearly of what their expectations are and listen to your client and see what they have to say.
Chantelle, from your experience, are you feeling the same way? Anything to add?
Absolutely. I really feel the qualification process, we always talk about that, right? with new agents, it doesn't matter how long you're in the industry. You want to qualify your clients. I feel that, and I'm going to talk with my hands, and I'm not even Italian. I feel that with luxury, that is another step of a qualification process. Laura, do you agree with that? Because of what you just said, it is, you want to know what they're thinking about luxury. So you almost want to have a separate qualification process with your luxury clients.
Mhm.
You do.
It's interesting you say that because I was just on the phone with someone the other day and I kept having to kind of change my line of questioning based on how she answered. And you thought she was going one direction, and then she would say one word, and I'd say, now hold on a second. I need to refocus this to another area because she's saying these words. I don't want to pick up my luggage. I don't want to be worried about traipsing across, for the train. I need 4 or 5 star. Like, she kept saying these words, but then she'd kind of veer off in another direction. I'm like, now hold on a second. So I had to keep reiterating and asking her more and more questions and have that conversation. And so many times when we talk about qualifying, I think we almost think of a checklist, like boom, 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 boom. And I want agents to I want you to have a casual conversation, but you're asking very directed questions to kind of get them to tell you things that are more than just yes or no. Um, but I think that takes time. I think it takes time to really develop that skill. Um, Laura, do you feel like your client base has changed over time? That you started very, I'm not going to say mainstream, but sort of, just kind of selling what you know, and then over time you started to become a little bit more educated in the luxury space, however you define it, and then your clients starting to define it for them?
For me, I've always done luxury, and it is true you have to sell what you know. Um, it has to do with your peer group and their interests and where
Mhm.
your interests are as well. It's very important to be educated and talk to people and say, oh, if you haven't been on, a Ritz-Carlton cruise, or you've never stayed at a Four Seasons, maybe you know somebody who did. Ask them their opinion. Find out, what was their experience, what did they like and what they didn't like. I also heard one person describe a luxury experience, as the supplier or the product thinks about the things that you wouldn't necessarily think about, but they think about it for you. Like when
Mhm.
you walk into your hotel room, your favorite bottle of wine is there, and they already have qualified, your client, or you have helped qualify your client and told the supplier this is what they like. They're allergic to gluten, they're allergic to nuts, so they're never going to have that experience. You're thinking about things ahead of time, and that definitely defines luxury.
Preemptive and proactive.
Yes.
Yes. Chantelle, I know because I know your the way you operate. I feel like
Uh-oh.
you have transitioned into this space and your clients have kind of grown over time into that arena.
They have. Next February, I'll be in the business 20 years. I'll be at KHM 10 years. So I'm celebrating some big milestones next year. But yes, before I came to KHM, I was a retail travel agent with AAA twice in my career. So all day, every day, I was around the world multiple times. So learning how to sell products. But then as I grew and as my clients grew, they brought me with them. So I would learn to include, okay, this is what they're asking for. Maybe it's an NCL, but maybe let's add in, like a princess or an Oceana.
Mhm.
If they're looking for a specific itinerary, because a lot of itineraries that you find like on a luxury cruise line, people are going for the itinerary because it's unique. It's not doing the same thing in the Caribbean. So it's just kind of introducing that to them. Um, but I also have had clients that they kind of do their own shopping. They're looking around and they come to me
Mm.
because I have that trust with them. I have booked their family. I have booked their kids' honeymoons. I have booked family trips. I have booked river cruises. Now they want to elevate that. So they come to me and say, "Hey, I was looking at Azamara." I'm like, "Absolutely. Can you do that?" They know that I can do this, but they don't know that I can also do this, this, and this.
So they're coming to you because of your service level.
Because of my service level,
Yeah.
because of my relationship that I've
Mhm.
had with them, the trust that I've built with them, knowing that, that I can handle what they're going to give me. So now let's elevate that. So it's kind of a twofold.
Yeah. You both mentioned learning. What are some of the ways that you've learned about the luxury market?
I would say all of the educational series that we have available to us, everything through KHM, all of our suppliers, joining ASTA, going to the ASTA meetings, I think is really important because you get that one-on-one interaction in your area, and then you will meet your representatives who have helped me in a pinch when I really needed it. I did that with UJV and Kensington, and I thought that was really important.
Mhm.
Experiencing it for yourself. There's a lot of great fam rates available. Yeah, I think it's really important to have that experience because it may be outside of your comfort zone. And there is no barrier to entry to sell luxury, which is really nice. You just have to educate yourself.
Right.
Like for example, there are pieces of travel that I don't sell because I don't know about them. So therefore, I don't sell them, but someone might come to me as a travel agent and say, "Do you sell this?" And then I would have to refer them to someone who's more knowledgeable. The same
Mhm.
thing happens with luxury.
Mhm. Chantelle, what resources have you used over the years to become more comfortable and more knowledgeable?
Um, Along the same lines, when I was in education, I would facilitate the webinars. So for 5 years here at KHM, multiple times a week, I was doing webinars with suppliers. So I was listening as I was moderating these webinars. Um, Also, talking to my clients who I will often use another client's experience to talk to another client and
Mm.
say, "Hey, I just had someone on Oceania. They just did this itinerary. Let me go back to them and ask them some questions." There have even been times that I have asked one client to get on a call with another client with me, not by themselves, but facilitate like a three-way call so they can ask questions. I will also do that with a luxury supplier. I'll get on a three-way call. I just had to do it with A&K. I have clients that they are luxury clients, but she has some mobility issues, and they travel with those the compact scooter that has a battery pack. So they wanted to do the luxury train with A&K in Peru, but we had to find out what is she gonna be able to do? Can she do everything in the itinerary? Or so I got on a three-way call. That's another thing. I'm old school. I like to pick up a phone and call too. I'm a talker, as you can tell.
Do you guys feel that you have sought out luxury clients, or are you working with existing clients and trying to do, I don't really love the word transition, but I don't know that there's another one. So you're kind of moving them in that direction, or are you marketing a certain way to gain that clientele?
I'm definitely marketing a certain way. Matt Walgren and I had a really nice conversation about a post office box and the zip code where your post office box is. I have a PO box and it's not in the highest income area. And when people Google you and say travel agent near me, sometimes that comes up. So therefore, I have
Mm.
different tiers of clients because of that. And so Matt and I were talking about, okay, if you're going to go out and get that PO box, you may want to research the income of that zip code, and maybe you might have to drive a little further, but it might be worth it to do something like that.
That is interesting.
That is genius. That is
So I'm changing my PO box.
We talk a lot about, it's funny, it never came up in the PO box, but we do talk a lot about, like, if you're in an area where people don't travel, you need to start joining places in the town next that does.
Definitely.
Whether it's the gym, Pilates, you're joining the church over there. Like, you hate to think that you're kind of upsetting your life and moving it to an area that does. But when it comes to running a business or gaining clientele really organically, people like to meet the people that they're handing over thousands of dollars to.
They really do.
Yes, we have agents that are super successful with social media and gaining clients that way and really never doing that face to face. But I think for a lot of our clientele, they do want that, especially the luxury clientele. And so sometimes you do have to kind of pick yourself up and move if it's not happening in your own area. Not physically move, guys. I'm not telling you to sell your homes. I'm just telling you to join the gym in the town over.
You just have to do your research. You have to do your research.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you feel like from a service level that are you offering the same level no matter what that client's booking with you? Or do you feel like you have to just do a little bit more for those luxury clients?
I think it depends. I like to treat everybody the same because everybody deserves the same, and you really shouldn't treat anybody differently because they're spending $3,000 on a trip to Mexico compared to $150,000 private safari to South Africa. You want to give service as your business because it's your face and your name. But I try not to, but there are times when those special clients, the high end ones, demand more. And I was having another conversation with somebody and I said, I don't know if I want that many high end clients because they are so demanding. They expect you to return phone calls and emails and pick up the phone and on a weekend. And I don't really have the bandwidth for that. I've also noticed that some of my high end clients that I have sent on, 6-figure trips to Italy, then saw an ad for Four Seasons round the world private jet and booked it themselves because and they're my neighbors. I know them. And they were like, well, why do I need a travel agent? Doesn't matter. And I'm like, oh, that was a lot of, they didn't think about it because they didn't need the help. And
Right.
we find that a lot with Viking because they advertise so much. And then, in these high-end publications where people might, pick up a magazine and they see these ads and they go direct to the supplier. So sometimes my high-end people need more touch. And we're working with my assistant with a list of high touch clients, and she's going to periodically call them and just check in and say, hey, just wanted to make sure, everything's going okay, especially for people who are booking in 2027, which
Right.
I've never had people book that far out before, but this year everybody's booking out.
Yes.
So that's another thing to do, is just pick up the phone. Like Chantelle said, it's really important to pick up the phone, write a handwritten note, be in person. Yes.
I've noticed with my luxury clientele, it's let me take you for a glass of wine. Let's meet for lunch. And that's how I do my touch points. If I feel like I'm falling down on service in any way, I always send a note saying, "Hey, I'd love to take you guys to lunch. When are you free?" And it just kind of cements that relationship. And to be honest, it's not just them. I do that with a lot of my clients as well. But you're right. Sometimes they just need a little more finesse. Chantelle, is that your experience as well?
Oh, 100%. Yes, I'm of the same mindset, Laura. Bill used to tease that, I give all my clients champagne and filet when I go over their documents, but that's just me. That's like my love language, right? I want to treat you like your family. Um, but in everyone's family, you always have the needier people. Um, and with that being said, you are going to have all of their information. They are coming to you again because of the relationship and because of the trust, right?
Mhm.
So I'm a little different because I have a 40-hour a week job here at KHM, and I still book travel. I have worked 2 full-time jobs. I always say travel is a full-time job.
Mhm.
I don't care if you have a full-time job or what. So for the past 9.5 years, I have worked 2 full-time jobs. So I have to be careful on how much I do take on because I don't want anything to slip through the cracks. I don't want to let someone down. I have to give 115%, 120% to my clients. I have remained Pinnacle all these years. Um, it's not easy, but I do it, and I do it with the satisfaction that I know that I am theirs. And I just had one of my clients come back, and we were going over some things, and he said, "You can never leave me." Even though sometimes I want to, but he's like, "You can never leave me." So it's just building that trust, that relationship. I had another set of clients that he won a trip through work. He's getting ready to retire. It was an A&K Wings Over Africa trip, and his company was working direct with A&K. And I knew about this, and we would just talk periodically about, "Oh, how's it going? I'm so excited for you. Africa's so amazing." And then one day they called me up and they're like, "We're not happy because we're not getting the answers we need in a timely manner." Now, this man is an engineer, so he wants things promptly. And I know that. I know that of him. And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And they're like, "Can you take this over?" And I said,
Yes,
I
I
can
can.
I
They'll
can
let me.
certainly ask. I can certainly ask because they only had deposit down. I reached out to Kathy Moran, our BDM with A&K, gave her the scenario. She goes, "Absolutely. Call in, give them the information." So from that point forward, I got the booking. I took over the booking, but almost every single day they were having questions and I was going back and forth with A&K, but I was being the one to get the answers for
Mhm.
them. They knew that if I couldn't get to them right then, I told them, "Hey, I got your email. I'm working on this. I'll get back to you." And it was a $115,000 booking that I didn't do anything, but when I got it, my service, my reputation, my relationship for them is what carried them through until they got home.
Yeah. And that's huge. You know, it's the service you're providing. So what would you suggest to agents who maybe aren't in this market but would like to be in this market? Do you have any tips?
I think again, I'm going back to the education. And if you're in a bigger city, you're going to have some different options of hotels. It's not a bad idea to call up the general manager of the hotel and ask for a tour. And you can get a sense of what the hotel is like
Mm.
just from that. I know that doesn't work for everybody because of where we live, but I'm planning on doing that in Palm Beach. We've got several new hotels coming up. I don't really know that well about the but I don't book a lot of Palm Beach. I book a lot of international instead, but it's in my backyard. So why shouldn't I do that? You
Mhm.
should have the relationships. So that's a great way to start reaching out to the BDMs that come through, especially from KHM. Everybody in that supplier list that's luxury, make sure that you're looking at their web pages and getting their email newsletters, because you're going to learn about what's up and coming. Like Celebrity just sent out that email about how their river cruise is sold out in 6 minutes or something, and Mandy Goddard posted that. I was like, that's amazing. So just things like that, you want to be up and up on what's coming, so that if you do have a call, you're aware at least of the products that are out there.
Laura, I love that idea about going in your own backyard. And even if you're not selling your own
Yes.
backyard, how are people in your area defining luxury? What special touches are they doing? What happens when you walk in the lobby? What does it smell like? What do the rooms look like? I mean, when I've gone into and stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in downtown Denver, you walk in and there's champagne for you. That doesn't happen at every hotel. But if you have someone who is used to a Ritz Carlton or a Four Seasons experience, they are going to expect that level of service walking in. So I think it's great if you have no experience with this to kind of, what does it feel like to be in a hotel that bills themselves at as 5-star luxury? What are you looking for as far as amenities? What are they offering as far as room service? What do the rooms look like? All of that can clue you in to what it might look like in another destination. Chantelle, what's your key tip for agents?
For selling luxury?
For anyone that wants to really get into selling luxury?
Well, I completely agree with Laura. It all goes back to education. I think r- getting creating a relationship with the BDMs of our luxury suppliers is huge. Watching the training, trying to experience, like Laura was saying, trying to experience something to give you that level, even if you're not personally a luxury person. Again, you're not selling out of your own wallet, right?
Mhm.
You want your clients to be able to come to you for anything that they're looking for. So I really feel I'm excited because a couple years ago, we did go through our portal and we pulled our luxury suppliers. And because agents kept asking about, do we have luxury suppliers? And
Mhm.
it was over and over. And I was like, I know we do. I know we do. So now we have them housed like in one section, which makes it so much easier for our agents to find them. And even coming to Luxury Symposium, even if you could do virtual, if you can't be in person, just getting to see all of the different variety. I like you said, this has grown in 3 years. I'm so excited on all the work that our supplier relations has done with education, just coming together and communicating and getting these suppliers, they want to be here.
Yeah.
Like there were some that I think we were maxed out, like in what we have right now. And they're so excited to work with KHM agents because of the reputation KHM agents have, but excited to be able to share their product. And the one thing that we told them in the email was, we want our agents to be sitting in your presentation, listening to you, and already thinking about all the clients that they're going to be
Mhm.
reaching out to.
Mhm.
I know who would Mr. Smith would fit this, Mr. Jones would fit that. I I already have a list in my head. That's going to get you excited. So even if you can't be there in person, if you could come virtually, it would be phenomenal. And Laura, I'm so excited that you're coming this year.
I'm excited too. I really am.
One of the best things is the conversation, and this is just kind of the start of it, and I think it gives agents an opportunity. And it also, for some, I mean, we had some agents last year that said, yeah, I'm not ready for this just yet. They were so appreciative to be there because they love learning, but they knew, they're like, yep, I'm not there yet, but I can't wait to be there, and when I am, I know the steps to take.
Right.
And so that was a win also. Like, I don't want anyone to walk away thinking, I'm not ready for this. I think learning and educating yourself on it is fantastic no matter where you are in the space right now. There will be a time. And I think that's the fun part about it. And luxury is, I don't know if it's the fastest growing segment, but it is a very aggressively growing segment of the industry. So I thank you both so much for being here and being part of the conversation. Laura, I can't wait to see you in a couple of weeks. That's going to be fun. Chantelle, I'll see you in just a couple of days for boot camp. You guys, we had some great interaction today on our chat. I'm so happy that you guys joined us live. What does next week look like? Okay, next week is boot camp, but I will be back on September 24th. And we're discussing empty nester travel with Mylene Hollick and Elaine Pesto, which is another segment of travel that's going gangbusters for those of us that do not have children at home anymore. So I hope you guys will join me then. Laura, Chantelle, always great to be in your presence. Thanks for being part of the conversation today, you guys. Have a great day. Happy
Thank
selling.
you.